Showtime.
Good morning. Can everybody maybe gather in a little bit? We're going to get started. So good morning. My name is Vicki Lewis-McGarvey and I'm the director of the Ambler campus. I want to thank everyone for being here with us today. It's hard to believe that a year has passed since Hurricane Ida spawned a tornado that struck this beautiful campus. And it damaged our campus and our surrounding communities. This is a bittersweet day for us. We can't help but remember what we've lost. But we're taking it as an opportunity to look at how far we've come in the last year. And for those of you who were here on the campus or in the Upper Dublin community a year ago today, I think you would all be as surprised as I am at how much we've gained and how far we've come in the last year. As we think back to September 1st, 2021, we continue to be extremely grateful that our students, faculty, and staff were not injured during the storm. But we know that members of our community were lost, and we'd like to take a moment of silence to remember them. We want our neighbors to know that we are here for them, just as they have been here for us over the past year. The outpouring of support for this campus has been overwhelming as we continue to recover, reimagine, and rebuild. From the first day in the aftermath of the storm, Temple has provided all the resources and the personnel we've needed to meet the challenge of rebuilding. There are so many people that we have to thank that we couldn't possibly mention you all by name, but I would like to, and I see your faces here today. We are so thankful for the Temple Police Department, the Temple Park Ranger Law Enforcement Academy, and the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources cadets who were on campus that day. Their quick thinking, training, and level-headedness during a time of crisis kept everyone who was on campus at that time safe. We're thankful for our campus operations and facilities management teams led by Beth Shepard-Rabadon, Joe Imsinick, Joe Monahan, and Jerry Leva, and the dozens of contractors and the army of volunteers who have helped to rebuild campus this year. 2 weeks. 2 weeks is all it took for them to get this campus reopened for our faculty and our students. The ongoing support we've received from so many offices and people around Temple, the President's Office, the Provost's Office, the Office of the Chief Operating Officer, departments like Risk Management, Environmental Health and Safety, Human Resources, Strategic Communications, Project Delivery, the list goes on, and our partners on the campus, including Information and Technology Services, the library, criminal justice training programs, the Tyler School of Art, the College of Science and Technology, the College of Engineering. They've all been amazing partners in helping us to rebuild. And we are thankful for our Ambler community of students, faculty, and staff who've weathered the storm and supported Temple Ambler. Their research, hands-on learning, and creativity have shown their Temple pride and what this campus means to them. And of course, we are thankful for all of you and your continued support in this year of great transition. And in recognition of that support, we will be presenting some special challenge coins to you after the ceremony as a commemoration and a token of our appreciation for your service to this campus. So So we have many honored guests with us today, and we'd like to give them the opportunity to share their thoughts and as we remember September 1st and look forward to the future. So first, I would like to introduce Ken Lawrence, Vice Chair of the Montgomery County Commissioners and a proud Temple owl.
Thank you, Vicki. It's an honor to join you all here this morning with some of my elected colleagues, Senator Maria Collett and State Representative Todd Stevens, and I believe Senator Vincent Hughes will be here as well. This is like a homecoming for me. I have literally been coming to this campus. I figured it out for over half of my life now. I took classes here as a student, but more importantly, my wife took most of her classes here, and I would wait for her on main campus for the big white bus to come down from Ambler campus to get here. Both of my sons attended summer camps here and played in sports leagues here. And there's no better place in Montgomery County to celebrate Earth Day than right here on the Ambler campus. So I can't believe it's been a year since Hurricane Ida hit and the tornado. And I believe it started as a day much like today. It was a nice day. I believe it was Friday, September 3rd, when someone actually sent me aerial photos of the Ambler campus. And if I had not been told that it was the Ambler campus, I wouldn't have recognized it with the devastation that had happened here across this quad, trees down. And I know as a former administrator at Temple, there's always a plan for Ambler, what it could be, what it should be. And I was actually concerned that maybe someone uses the opportunity to say that it shouldn't be rebuilt. So I am so proud of Temple and in typical Temple tough attitude that this campus is coming back, that it's beautiful. I was here a few weeks ago for a 5K, running very slowly. It was a hot night across campus here. And to compare what I had seen in the months before to what it looks like on this beautiful morning is just great. So I want to commend all of my former friends, not former friends, former colleagues. You're still my friends, my colleagues here at Temple. I also want to acknowledge too that back in 2020, remember before 2021, there was a 2020 and we had a pandemic then. Anybody remember COVID-19? Remember that's what we talked about. The Temple Ambler campus opened up its doors to the community for a federal testing site. It was the first here in Montgomery County when testing was scarce. So I want to acknowledge that as well, that this campus has always opened its doors to the community. When you drive by here, you see kids playing in the fields and all the community events. So as a Montgomery County Commissioner, as a Temple-made alum, I am proud of the Temple Ambler campus. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here today. And I'll close with our Temple motto, which Temple Ambler certainly represents, perseverance conquers. Thank you.
Ken's a little taller than I am. Next, I would like to introduce Representative Todd Stevens from the 151st District of Pennsylvania.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me today. I am the proud state representative for the area in which Temple Ambler campus is located. And, you know, as I was preparing for today, I was thinking back to 1 year ago. And as Commissioner Lawrence mentioned, it was a beautiful day in the morning, and then the storms rolled in the evening, and I recall very vividly getting that alert on my cell phone. And frankly, I remember ignoring it. And I'll never do that again. That entire event changed all of us in many ways. It changed the landscape of the area on the campus and around the campus. And it certainly changed the way we all respond to those emergencies and those alerts. I remember very distinctly the next day walking through the neighborhoods around this campus and recalling just the devastation. The trees littered across the roadway, on houses, on buildings, power lines draped across cars, the sound of generators everywhere you went because there was no power, the smell of the exhaust from the generators as you walked through those neighborhoods. And of course, we learned about the tragic loss of life that occurred as well. But as I recall these events from last September, the first chapter certainly is one of tragedy and devastation, but that's not where the story ends. It's really a story about grit and perseverance and compassion and partnerships. And Temple has been a tremendous partner in the rebuild following this tornado, along with so many others. You know, I recall reaching out to the governor's office the next day and saying, look, I think it's really important that the governor come down here because we're going to need a lot of help. And he did come down and brought with him the Secretary of Transportation, along with some other folks. And for the last year, it's been all about partnerships and rebuilding. From the local township level, through the county, through the state, my good friend and colleague, Senator Maria Collett, who's here, we've all been working together to try to rebuild and move through that tragic phase to that restoration phase. And we're a year into it, and we've made a lot of progress. We've made a lot of progress, but there's still more work to do. I can tell you there are still families in this community who are suffering. Right now, I believe we have about 150 open cases in my legislative office for folks who are either still displaced or in need of further assistance from the tornado. We continue to work. Senator Collett and I have been working very closely with the governor's office to try to provide some additional funding for restoration, to restore plantings and trees, to help homeowners who may have suffered serious losses that were uncompensated by their insurance, things along those lines. But I want to say a special thanks to Temple Ambler. I can't tell you over the last year how many times I have reached out for different instances of support. One example is when St. Alphonsus called and said, hey, we've got a lot of downed trees right behind our property, and we really could use some help from Temple cleaning that up, and the folks at Temple stepped right up, got right out there, and the crews here did terrific work restoring that area just up the road here. So this story is one of grit and determination and perseverance and compassion and partnerships. And I hope that we all remember that as we remember this day moving forward. It's an honor to be here today. My special thanks to Temple for pulling this all together, for all your work and your partnerships over the past year for both your own campus and the surrounding community. We are forever grateful, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Now I would like to introduce our incoming state senator, the Honorable Maria Collett.
Thank you, Vicki. Todd's always moving the microphone. Thank you, Vicki, and good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Maria Collett, and I am the state senator for Pennsylvania's 12th district, which includes Ambler, Horsham, and much of the surrounding region, and as of December will also include Upper Dublin. I'm humbled to be here with you today in shared grief over your suffering and loss, in recognition of your strength in the face of adversity, and in resolve to stand with you and fight for you in the ongoing efforts to heal and rebuild. It's hard to believe it will be 1 year ago tonight that Hurricane Ida tore through this beautiful campus and the surrounding communities. One need look no further than the holes in the landscape where rows of trees used to stand, offering us beauty and shade, to understand the holes that remain in our hearts. In reflecting on what happened that day and in the days since, the losses of life, property, safety, and security, the frustrations in dealing with utility and insurance companies, governmental agencies, and endless roadblocks in your efforts to pick up the pieces, and the compounded trauma of the timing, just as COVID seemed to be getting under control and our lives were returning to normal. In reflecting on all of this, and in trying to shake my own feelings of helplessness, the various oaths of service I have taken have repeatedly come to mind. As a nurse, with loyalty, I will devote myself to the welfare of those committed to my care. As your state senator, I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. And as an attorney, I will use no falsehood, nor delay the cause of any purpose for lucre or malice. I assure you, these oaths I swore remain as much on my mind as they did when I first took them, and as much as they did on September 2nd, 2021, when I stood just yards from here taking in the devastation that hit this community. I understand that you are all still suffering, and I know there is much more that those of us serving in all levels of government must do to help you as you physically rebuild and emotionally heal. As your elected representatives, it's also incumbent on us to review and improve our systems to ensure we're better prepared in the future. I have and will continue to implore my colleagues to join me in supporting urgently needed improvements to our insurance and emergency management laws, as well as our climate policies and budget priorities. As we do these things, we must also remember that this is about much more than lost belongings and broken buildings. It's about the loss of security and broken psyches. It's about the fact that so many of our friends and neighbors lack the financial stability to weather natural disasters and other emergencies. I am here today not just as an elected official, but as a neighbor, an ally, and a friend. I want to assure you that I see you, I hear you, I stand with you, and I will continue to do everything I can to help you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce next Ken Kaiser. Ken is Temple's Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. Ken and his team have been unwavering supporters of this campus over the last year, and I would be remiss if I didn't say Ken is also a longstanding member of the Upper Dublin community who was personally impacted by this tornado.
Thank you, Vicki. So just first, welcome everybody to the Ambler campus. If this is your first time here, I highly encourage you to take the tour that Vicki and her team are offering later today. As Vicki said, I've been part of the Temple community and the Upper Dublin community for more than 30 years, and I can absolutely say the idea that a tornado would impact or affect either never entered my mind. Up until this time last year, tornadoes were something that happened elsewhere to other people and not, to our community. And although the storm was devastating for Ambler and me personally, it did provide another example of how strong and caring the Temple community is. The response began moments after the storm hit. I was scheduled to be in Florida the next day, but with my house actually full of holes and unable to get a car down the street, obviously that didn't happen. But I did make it here to campus, and what I saw gave me feelings of pride and of hope. I was greeted by a team from our facilities management group and campus safety. And just hours after the storm, they already had a well-coordinated plan for securing, cleaning, restoring, and reopening the campus. In partnership with roofing, restoration, and tree companies, Temple staff, including faculty and staff from Ambler, worked through long days, nights, and weekends to make sure the campus was ready to open in a safe way. And as Vicki said, that took just about 2 weeks. And although the campus looks very different today than it did a year ago, a lot of progress has been made. For starters, the former library building is now the Ambler Research and Collaboration Building and home to the Temple Ambler Field Station. Wright Hall has a new roof and a refurbished lounge. The campus has a new vine display garden, and the tea houses in the former gardens are returning to their former glory. And you have my commitment that there's more that will be done as we continue working with Ambler campus leadership, the Provost office, and others to provide new and reimagined possibilities for the future of Ambler. What happened here and to Upper Dublin was really a gut punch for so many of us, but it is providing a long-awaited opportunity to invest and make positive change for everyone at Ambler, including faculty, staff, the community, and most importantly, our students. And I do want to echo one thing that Vicki said, and that is to thank people. I did ask Denise Wilhelm and Jerry Leva to give me a list of all the people that really contributed to the rebuilding of Ambler, and it had to be at least 50 to 70 lines on an Excel spreadsheet. So needless to say, I'm not going to read through that, but campus safety, facilities management, risk management, the entire Temple leadership team, thank you for all you've done to rebuild Ambler.
Thanks, Ken. So next, I would like to introduce Provost Greg Mandel. Greg is the Provost of Temple University and the Laura H. Carnell Professor of Law. And Greg and my colleagues in the Provost office have been amazing supporters of this campus over the last year. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning, and more so, thank you for all the wonderful support and effort and enduring caring that you've shown to the Ambler campus over the last year. It's a campus that holds a special place in our hearts, and I know that a year later, the acute sense of loss remains very strong for many of us. It's a remarkable thing. A lot of people have commented on how beautiful the weather was the morning of the tornado. I was here 364 days ago, the day after the tornado, when the sun was shining, the sky was blue, and as we walked around campus and toured the surrounding neighborhood, there was just this devastating loss that people have spoken to. That juxtaposition, I think, reflects what we're seeing now. The landscape has been so altered, yet it's coming back. As Ambler Arboretum Director Kathy Salisbury will tell you, there are surprises around every corner of the Arboretum today. And as was mentioned, I hope you'll take a tour and get to see some of those yourself. Since the storm, the work on restoring the Arboretum has been nonstop. From assessing what was lost to planning for what is to come. The wait from fall until winter, until spring, to see what would regrow was sometimes a harrowing one. We really didn't know what was going to come back. That brings us to today. Tree stumps are growing new foliage. Trees that lost their limbs are leafing out and branching out in fascinating ways. When you walk around campus, you'll probably find new discoveries that we haven't even noticed yet. Our new garden spaces have been created by campus alumni and current students in the Landscape Architecture Design Build Studio. Be sure to visit the Vine Display Garden near Dixon Hall today. You'll also find new sculptures in the gardens created by Tyler architecture students during the Summer Institute that they spent at Temple Ambler this last summer. The tea houses in the formal gardens are returning to their former glory. There's a new low ropes challenge course ready for team and community building exercises. And other buildings and campus spaces are going to provide new and reimagined possibilities for the future. For the past year, Temple Ambler Field Station has also pivoted much of their research and their resources to studying disturbance ecology on this campus. Dr. Amy Freestone, the director of the Temple Ambler Field Station, has talked about how disturbances can reset entire ecosystems. Climate change is altering the frequency and the severity of storms and other natural events. And understanding these dynamics, the lessons that we'll learn from Ambler itself as it recovers, understanding them will help us to mitigate the future impacts. Throughout the year, the Field Research Station interns have been engaged in hands-on research that they personally developed to study various aspects of the impact that the tornado had on our campus. Certainly, the landscape at Temple Ambler has changed. But the landscape that has been created, that is being created, presents unique opportunities for our students and our faculty to conduct research into how nature responds to such a tremendously transformative event. And that research is going to redound to all of our benefit. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Next, I'd like to introduce Senator Vincent Hughes, who is our current state senator.
You heard that, Maria Collett, current, all right? And give this the warm handoff to you, all right? I don't know about everyone gathered here, but once again, driving through the community, coming on the campus, quite frankly, it was, it's been a very sobering moment, right? You know, you think what folks had to confront all of those who on the campus, those who are in the community, those of us who rush to provide some level of support. You kind of reflect back on that moment a year ago. Very, very sobering. At least it is for me, and I have to imagine it is for everyone gathered. I think the important thing about this occasion is that we must, when we're challenged with crisis like we had, the resilience that is within all of us must be supported, and we cannot fall back. We must push forward. The significant thing about this conversation, Mr. Provost, and to the entire Temple family, that we must confront the climate crisis with the knowledge that comes out of the individuals who are on this campus doing the good work, helping us to use knowledge and information on how to address this. The resiliency of the students, which always drives me, their happiness, their willingness to take on big things and to solve big problems. We must embrace that, Mr. Provost, and everybody here on Temple. We must embrace that and give it life and opportunity to breathe and make sure that we make the changes necessary. We must never succumb to the challenge. We must always embrace it and utilizing our best selves with our best information, with our best knowledge that comes out of environments like this on this campus, win. We cannot succumb. We cannot lose. We must win, but it means embracing one another, working together, utilizing the best and brightest information, utilizing the best and brightest talent. I see these students, they look so happy and ready to go do their homework and stuff like that. I was never happy and ready to go do my homework, but they do. But we must embrace that. So I just want to just take this moment in context of my conversation is just to thank the Temple family for not shrinking from this moment, shrinking from this sobering reality, but really embracing it and seeing how we can all collectively move forward. We cannot succumb. We must win. We must win. Life always seems to, in its most difficult circumstance, life always seems to figure out how to come through. Let's learn from that, embrace that, and as I said, win for all of us, because that's what's on the line in this conversation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Senator Hughes. So next, I would like to introduce Kate Wingert-Playdon. Kate is the Associate Dean and Director of the Architecture and Environmental Design Programs in the Tyler School of Art and Architecture, and one of our most cherished partners and supporters of the Ambler campus.
Good morning, everyone. I first want to thank Senator Hughes for the comments about embracing and moving forward with climate challenges. We are leading, I think, in change, but we're being pushed by our students, which is actually the best thing. They're demanding that we lead and we move forward with teaching and learning about change. Much of the teaching and learning in the Tyler School of Art and Architecture's programs in landscape architecture and horticulture is done here on the Ambler campus. The design studios, the Arboretum, the gardens, and the greenhouse serve as laboratory for hands-on and applied learning, a unique experience that sets our students apart as they move forward with their careers. A year ago, the tornado disrupted the students' learning experience, but only briefly. Faculty led their students through the disruption, working online for a few weeks until they were able to come back to campus safely. When we were able to return, there were a lot of tears and a sense of disbelief, but the students joined the faculty in the task of getting to know their studios and gardens in a new way. A sense of creative optimism emerged, and the year has seen many positive changes. Our curriculum has increased its focus on the effects of climate change and has on-site evidence to teach from. Our graduate program in landscape architecture, already focused on ecological restoration, can forge new grounds in this growing field and become even more of a leading program in that area. Our historic preservation program used the tea houses as a survey site, assessing the damage to the structure as part of a historical analysis. We found ways to strengthen our design-build offerings in our programs. The Landscape Architecture Design-Build Studio constructed the new Ivy Display Garden, which you've heard about already, on building foundations left behind when a structure was damaged. And we started, as Provost Mandel mentioned, a new Architecture Summer Design-Build Institute focused on building habitats for wildlife in the Ambler Arboretum. Since this time last year, we've been so fortunate to have the opportunity to think outside the box. New educational and research initiatives have emerged between Tyler's designers in architecture and landscape architecture, and ecologists in the field station, and horticulturists in the Arboretum. Our new design build studio in the Ambler Research and Collaboration Building, just to my right here, puts us together in one place, demonstrating the power of optimism and collaboration in our community here at Ambler, matching designers and scientists in the same physical space. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Next, I'd like to introduce Kathy Salisbury. Kathy is the director of the Arboretum, the Ambler Arboretum of Temple University here on the Ambler campus. And Kathy's work over the past year to plan and rethink and rebuild the Arboretum has been nothing short of inspirational.
Hello, everybody. Trees have a complex underground network of roots and fungus that provide support and help move water and nutrients through the tree for survival. I'm likely not telling any of you anything that you don't already know. But researcher Suzanne Simmerd has discovered that it is through this very same network that trees talk to each other. Yep, talk to each other. Not in the ways that we humans think of talking or communication, but in ways that we can understand nonetheless. When they are in peril, trees send out chemicals to let their community know there is a problem, so other, still healthy members can prepare by creating more defense chemicals in their systems. Through this intricate and extensive network of roots and fungus, healthy trees also share nutrients and minerals with those struggling around them, bolstering those in need with excess they have accumulated. While most of the 510 trees we lost a year ago today likely did not have time to send alerts to their community through underground networks, in the days and weeks that followed the storm, our campus community was supported by a large, complex, and intricate network I'm not sure we knew existed prior to this. Hundreds of contractors traversed the campus in cleanup and recovery. In fact, they can still be heard repairing and replacing to this day. Members of one arborist crew in particular cared for many of the trees on a regular basis, getting to know them personally and enjoying climbing in them to keep them healthy. They shed a tear when they arrived to the site of the destruction, when they were the first company here on site at sunrise the next day, telling me that none of them had seen anything like the destruction they saw today, despite their years of dealing with cleaning up storm damage. To date, more than 1,000 hours of selfless, hard work, planting trees, removing debris, cleaning up the gardens, has been donated by volunteers ranging from neighborhood home gardeners who also suffered in this storm, to horticulture professionals who work at many of the public gardens around the region, to a small army of alum from various landscape architecture and horticulture companies who wanted to help repair the gardens they loved so much as students. Like so many did not realize that trees helped each other out silently and visibly underground, we may not have realized the size and the complexity of the network that would emerge to support us and our community. And more than 100 trees and shrubs have been donated to the Arboretum from nurseries all around the region. In the coming generations, those new trees we have been planting will form a new communication and support network below ground. Silently, as students, faculty, staff, researchers, contractors, volunteers, visitors, bike riders, dog walkers, joggers, and donors come and go above. While that is happening beneath our feet, we will be focusing on the network that emerged after the storm, growing and feeding that network that we now know is there, working together to nourish what remains and support what is to come. I would like to take a moment on behalf of the Arboretum staff to thank I wasn't supposed to do that. To thank the multitudes of organizations and companies and individuals that have come out to form our support network, that have shared their precious resources with us in our time of need, so that we must once again may thrive. Thank you all for that. So now it is my distinct honor to introduce the person who was my partner in despair, but also in curiosity and wonder and fascination as we navigated the days and the weeks following the tornado. You may not know this, but 1 year ago, ribbon cutting was meant to be held for the Temple Ambler Field Station Research Array, which will be home to dedicated research such as the field station's ongoing study of the spotted lanternfly and faculty research into solar energy and more. This ribbon cutting was postponed due to forecasted bad weather that day. Today we will hold that long overdue ribbon cutting, and I would like to introduce Dr. Amy Freestone, who will walk us through that.
thank you so much to my Temple Ambler colleagues and to all our guests here today for joining in as we collectively remember what happened 1 year ago. For the Temple Ambler Field Station, this has been a year of grief. As we saw the natural areas on campus, some of the primary assets of the field station, forever impacted by a severe weather event, a symptom of climate change, and a very immediate and powerful reminder of its impacts. But this year has also been one of remarkable growth for the field station, as we quickly pivoted our research and training activities to turn these losses into opportunities for new research directions, new collaborations, new courses, new avenues for learning and discovery. In the months prior to the storm, the field station team, including our fearless interns, some of whom are here, had painstakingly tagged, mapped, measured, and identified nearly every woody plant in over 6 acres of forest within the Temple Forest Observatory, only to have this area largely leveled by the tornado. Since the storm, we have rapidly expanded our research activities to document both the impacts of the tornado as well as the forest's recovery. We conducted intensive field campaigns to census not only what was lost in the storm, but what survived. We are using motion-censored cameras to document wildlife and time-lapse imagery to record forest regrowth. Catalyzed by an infusion of support from the Office of the Vice President for Research, we've now coupled these detailed field data with additional data collected from drones and state-of-the-art environmental sensors. This research is the scaffolding upon which we've built new training opportunities for Temple's undergraduate and graduate students, but also local middle and high school students as well. Donning hard hats and safety vests, our students are now having unparalleled field-based training in global change science. But beyond the studies that can be done in our natural areas, the field station also supports other large-scale outdoor projects that need a more controlled environment. To that end, in addition to remembering the tornado today, we are also very excited to be officially opening the Field Station Research Array, an event that, as Kathy mentioned, was supposed to occur on September 1st, 2021, but was postponed due to an ominous weather forecast that led to the events of that day. So it's fitting that as we remember the impacts of the tornado on the campus, we celebrate this new expansion in our research capacity. The Field Station Research Array provides designated outdoor space for large-scale projects, such as our ongoing research on the impacts of spotted lanternfly on native plants. It is also the upcoming site for an NSF-funded study on the co-location of solar energy and food production, with a solar array that will support this research and serve as a long-term demonstration site for sustainability infrastructure on the Ambler campus. I'm thrilled to be officially opening this research platform today. I also wanted to extend my sincere gratitude to the many people at Ambler and within our larger community who supported us in our recovery. It was a challenging time for all of us, but I'm so proud of where we are and I'm very excited about where we're headed. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Michelle Masucci, Vice President for Research.
Thank you very much, Amy. It's really wonderful and quite an honor to be with you here today on this important moment where we mark the importance of the events that took place a year ago and the impact that they've had on all of us. While the Ambler campus was experiencing tornadoes, I live in Center City area, and we were watching as the flood that also happened in the same storm was devastating homes and businesses there. And I think it really speaks to how important it is to understand how these events are part of a broader and larger environmental impact that's going on at a scale and a level that I think most of us could not have anticipated would be happening in our lifetimes. One of the things I want to share with you is a sort of personal note, which is that it's very rare that you have an opportunity to support an activity that's near and dear to your heart in a job like the one that I have as Vice President for Research. So I can tell you that the thinking behind a field station at Ambler campus began as some quiet conversations in hallways championed by faculty, primarily in the School of Science and Technology, but also championed by Vicki McGarvey. And part of how we got this field station going was just to collect literally some documents that would tell us the ABCs of how to establish a field station and network with others that exist around the country. And from there, the idea grew from our little sit down in an office one day, kind of brainstorming what could happen, into the foresight that I think took place to be able to document the old growth forest here on campus and really take advantage of using the Arboretum status as a pathway for understanding and education for our students. No one could be any happier than I that we're going to do this ribbon cutting today. I think it's an incredibly important moment for Temple University to have a resource like this that's really stewarded appropriately and brought into the future for our students and our investigators. I really want to give all the credit in the world to Vicki and Amy for making that happen, and to the community here at Ambler for understanding how important that is as a part of the resource here on campus and in the community more broadly. So I don't want to keep us from the ribbon cutting, but I did want to share how really grateful I am to everybody for making that happen. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Vicki.
Thank you, Michelle, for your support and your vision in designating this campus as a field station. So thank you all for coming today. This concludes the speaking portion of our program. We hope that you will join us for the ribbon cutting, the long delayed 1 year late ribbon cutting of the Field Station Research Array. And following that, across the quad, we will be hosting the press conference for Senators Maria Collett and Vincent Hughes to announce a new initiative to help the homeowners impacted by Hurricane Ida. We will also be holding tours of the campus following the press conference if anyone is interested, and we still have some refreshments inside the building. So thank you for coming, and please join us over at the ribbon. Thank you.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, cut. That's beautiful. All right. How about that?
Ribbon. There we go.
There we go. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And
You can sneak in there too.
I feel like I should,
you should.
right?
Get in there.
There you go. Done. Awesome. Done.
Great, wonderful. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Collett, and I'm the state senator for Pennsylvania's 12th district, which includes Horsham Township and much of the surrounding region. And as of December, will also include Upper Dublin Township, which currently sits in Senator Hughes's 7th district. The remnants of Hurricane Ida wreaked havoc in our region, and even a year later, all we have to do is look at places like the Upper Dublin Township building, the Temple Ambler campus, or the number of homes that remain covered by tarps to know that the storm's impact is still being felt today. Our communities have suffered crushing losses, from lost keepsakes and damaged property, to uninhabitable homes, and displacement, to the tragic death of one of our neighbors. As local families continue to feel the impacts of this storm, I'm proud to be here with you today alongside Senator Vincent Hughes to announce $1.5 million in state relief funding for Upper Dublin and Horsham Townships.
Yeah.
Senator Hughes and I walked through your neighborhoods, sidestepped down trees and telephone poles in the days following the EF2 tornado and flooding. We talked with homeowners and saw the devastation firsthand, and we heard from hundreds of impacted residents in the days and months following. And we didn't forget. During budget negotiations this year, we fought hard for this funding to help alleviate some of the most urgent unmet needs for residents impacted by the storm as they continue to pick up the pieces and rebuild their lives, navigating delayed insurance claims and ongoing home repairs. The funding we're announcing today will provide grant awards up to $2,500 per household through programs to be administered by each township. More specific program guidelines will be available in the coming weeks, and we're looking forward to sharing those details when they're ready. In the meantime, I'll continue to do everything I can to help impacted residents in the 12th district. Our legislature has a lot of work to do to tackle the effects of a changing climate and to prepare our communities to respond to more and more natural disasters like this one. We know that this is just part of the response, that it won't cover everyone's needs or experience. But these relief funds, $1.5 million, are a continuation of our commitment that we are all in this together, that we will not let our fellow Pennsylvanians fall behind, and that we will be there for each other. While we all get to work finalizing the details with Upper Dublin and Horsham Townships to get these programs set up, please know that our offices remain available to help you connect with community and state-level resources related to natural disasters and the other struggles that we all face. Thank you, and it is my sincere pleasure to introduce my friend, Chairman Vincent Hughes.
You get to hold the check now. You get to hold the check now, okay? All right, you want to help her out? There you go. Okay. So this is a good moment. All right. This is a positive moment. It is a moment to show, as Senator Collett indicated, that, and then it all gets a little sobering when you think about where we were a year ago. Driving through these communities, talking to folks, listening. The governor Wolf came down and joined us. Everyone came together to hear and to respond. But we wanted to make sure that this grant money was available because we knew that the pain did not stop at that moment. The pain did not stop a year ago. The pain did not stop within those first 30 days. And unfortunately, the pain still persists. In many cases, in many respects, that pain will never go away. That devastation, that trauma will never go away. But Senator Collett and I, in our efforts working through the state budget process, were able to secure these dollars with our colleagues, working with the governor, to respond in some way to give assistance to families, that the townships will make the determination where those dollars are best directed. It is a way to make sure that people know that we have not forgotten and we will still continue to fight to get the resources. We have some larger issues that we need to address as we see climate devastation impacting communities all over the country and, in fact, all over the world. But in this case, in this small way, this $1.5 million will go to provide a helping hand to families who were devastated and who still remain impacted by what occurred a year ago. It was a beautiful morning a year ago before the tornado came through. But people still have risen up out of that crisis, out of that hell, to try to find a new way. It's important that we're on this campus, as I said in comments earlier, to embrace the education, the knowledge, the learning, to make sure that we have a structural change to the crisis of climate. So we thank everybody. We thank our friends at Temple. We thank the township leaders who are here. We thank the students, but most importantly, thank the families who have persisted throughout the last 365 days to get to this moment. So Senator Collett, I'll finish holding the check, and you take the rest of the program. Thank you all very much.
It's my pleasure.
He's doing a good job, isn't he?
You're good. It's my pleasure now to introduce Upper Dublin Township Manager Kurt Ferguson.
Kurt.
Thank you. First, thanks to both of you so much. We're grateful for the help. September 1st, 2021 demonstrated the strength of Upper Dublin Township, our remarkable resilience, determination of our residents to help one another, and our wonderful staff, first responders, community organizations, businesses, and volunteers. People gave their time, their money, and their support in immeasurable ways. But there's a lot more to do, more people to help, and we're prepared to do that. We had damage to more than 1,500 public, private, and institutional properties in Upper Dublin Township. We had 115 families that were displaced, and we had the tragic loss of Maxine Weinstein on that terrible day. This evening we'll be holding our own commemoration at the Township Building at 801 Wacash Avenue with Township officials that will be attending with a 1.5-mile walk through a heavily affected area of the township, and a time for people to get together and be a community once again. Again, we're grateful for the help. We look forward to future events where we celebrate, especially across our most affected areas, the complete work of the township, the restoration of all of our homes, of our institutions, of our businesses, and of our own township building. And we'll look forward to having you both there as well to celebrate that day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kurt. And to the Upper Dublin supervisors that are here with us this morning, we're excited to work with you to deliver these grants to the community. Horsham Township Manager Bill Walker was unable to attend this morning, but he wanted to share a brief statement, which I'll read on his behalf. In Horsham, we had nearly 800 properties damaged by the tornado and flooding brought on by Ida. In Montgomery County, we are not accustomed to tornadoes, and residents had little time to prepare. While township staff and first responders did everything they could to support residents facing overwhelming loss, there are still families who are struggling to recover. I'm grateful to Senator Collett and Senator Hughes for their support, and I look forward to working with them to get these funds out to the people who need it most. Our township managers and officials have been on the ground since day one, and they know their communities better than anyone. I want to thank all of you for your tireless efforts to support residents who have been impacted by the tornado and the remnants of Hurricane Ida. Senator Hughes and I are eager to continue these efforts, and I'll turn it over to Senator Hughes to wrap things up.
There you go. So, where are you going with the money?
We're going to bring it back.
Okay, you're going to bring it back? Okay, all right. So, the board, we can erase that. Not yet. She's trying to. But we're going to keep fighting for more help, all right? The idea is to fight for more for communities like this and other communities that were devastated and likely will be devastated in the future. But again, it's all of us working together. All of us working together that can win on these kinds of issues. In the time of crisis and despair, as was evidenced a year ago, everyone came together. No matter what their situation, no matter their political perspective, everyone came together. Going forward, to solve the crisis of climate, it's also going to be everyone coming together. I'm pleased to have a colleague like Senator Maria Collett, who I call a friend, who's done an incredible job in her first term, her first 4 years in Harrisburg, to be a partner in this effort of bringing everyone together to solve not just the little issues, but the big issues as well. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it. One day we'll get some more money and we'll erase the check and add some more zeros or something like that to it. All right? You like that, Maria?
I like it.
You like that idea? She likes that. So thank you all very much. We're done? We're good? We're good. And thank you to the Temple campus for hosting us here today. Really, really, really appreciate you. And all these cool people over here who Hughes, hurry up because it's hot, okay? All right. Thank you very much.
There we go. Everybody's looking right here. One. Nope. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3.
Got this, Danielle?
Oh.
2 more.
Multiple more.
Everybody else?
Great.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.